Hello again everybody, welcome to my second round video of my round 2 game. I was playing against Zain Patel and I was the slightly higher rated player. I'm 2220 at the moment, he was 2077. I think I've played Zain before, maybe a year or so ago in the 4NCL, and we had a draw with reverse colours. So this is my first time playing white against him. Obviously he's a young lad, but he's obviously up and coming, so could potentially play to a stronger level. And of course, one of the things that I am at the British for is I'm not just here playing in the main championships, I'm also doing the junior coaching in the morning as well. So got here about 8 a.m. And stopped doing junior coaching at about just before 2 o'clock. Was able to wolf in some food before actually going to my game. So my preparation for this game probably wasn't quite amazing, and that's going to happen for the rest of them. And I've accepted that. That's going to affect my performance. So if I manage to somehow not lose racing in this tournament, then it will be a miracle. But we'll give it a good go. And even if you are, shall we say, kind of hindered by something like that, it's still better to play to get better at chess if my energy can keep up. But okay, let's get into the game. So I did actually was able to have a quick look at what he played, and I was quite surprised that even though I did 5 minutes of preparation, it actually kind of half came out on the board. I was just like, yeah, that'll be okay. So I saw here, for example, that he played almost like the start of a Nimzo. So for example, here if knight c3, the Nimzo Indian is kind of one of the most feared, well, not feared, but that's maybe a bit too strong a word, but it is one of the best openings to play, which is why a lot of people play knight f3, which is what I thought I'd do. I did think about should I allow the Nimzo Indian, maybe play a line against it, because he does sometimes go d5 anyway. And here after knight c3 he plays the Semi-Tarrasch after c5, which is a perfectly good opening. However, it's probably not an opening that I'd recommend people to play at all, and you'll see why here. So for example, we go down the main line, so after takes, e4, knight takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, bishop b4 check, bishop d2, takes and takes. And actually, this is still all theory. So even though I think we turned up late to the game by 5 or so minutes, I was 5 minutes late, he was 10 minutes late. Don't know why he was late. I was actually working this morning. But after castles, we're still in theory here. This is still all theory. And I saw before the game that he played knight d7. There are some lines with like knight c6, but I think knight d7 is the best. And after castles, he goes b6, and then, as you'd expect, we put the rooks in the centre of the board. This is, again, all theory. Rook c8, bishop back, and kind of like getting towards the end of my preparation, or what I could do. And I saw that after rook e8 that the best move for white here is h3, which I kind of knew of before. That's been in my repertoire. So like some of the things that I kind of knew is that, like, if you go rook e3 and put your queen behind it and also defend the pawn on e4, then that's usually a very good setup to do. But the other idea is that when your pawn on e4 is under attack, you can go queen f4. So I was kind of in theory up until this point, and I guess if I'd had a bit more time, I would have been a bit more heavily prepared for queen c7. So this is where I first started to have my first proper think. I'm thinking, right, okay, how am I going to deal with this queen exchange? Usually, this opening here, let's just see where we're at. I'm the one with 2 pawns in the centre, supported by 2 rooks. I'm pretty happy with that situation. I know what the general ideas and plans are in this position as well. And actually, I think that black's position is a little bit passive. If you ask me, it's not an opening that I'd recommend. And I'm just gonna just flip the board around here, just so you can actually feel it from black's point of view, looking upwards. And you see, you've not got a pawn in the centre. White's got 2 central pawns, both rooks barreling down at your right at your queen as well. Even this bishop is like cemented on this diagonal too. The knight's ready to hop in at any moment. And there's some pawn advances as well that white can do too. So I would not recommend people to play this. I don't quite know why Zain plays it. I thought he might have been, well, and I saw that he played it before, but you have to know it really, really well. If you don't know this opening very, very well, then you are going to just get a miserable position and have to defend. I know that, for example, one of my local players, a guy called Richard Lee, he plays this line, and we've had a few games in it. He likes to defend. He loves defending. He seems to want black, and he seems to really enjoy the battle of getting his pieces out and playing this way. And yeah, it's not one for me though. As a dynamic player, I always want something a bit more active. A bit of share of the centre, or maybe my pieces to be a bit more crazy. But I do prefer these positions for white. Queen c7 though, not necessarily a surprising move, but I just kind of did my theory up to here, and that was it. I played queen h4, which has been played before, but I saw afterwards that knight e5 was potentially maybe the main move, but I don't think it's like too massive. He did start having to think here himself, so we kind of exited theory roughly about the same time. And then he chose to go b5, which is a very common idea here with b5. The idea is kind of numerous, really. I mean, first of all, he's got 2 pawns over the queen side. They're going to get 1, so if he keeps pushing them, one of them will come past. I guess he can kick out my bishop from this beautiful diagonal of a5, a4, and I guess if I do nothing, then that is going to come. So in this position, it's kind of decision-making time. What are we going to do? So if you are watching the video and you've got time, just pause the video now and try and come up with an idea of how would you play this position as white. What would be your next few moves? Because this is where big plans come into it, and if you know some of the themes and ideas in positions like this, this is where you can then play it, but you have to know the themes and the ideas. So pause the video now, have a think, and then I'll tell you what some of the ideas that went through my head actually were. Okay, so hopefully you did that. So there's one main idea here, which is what I played in the game, which was actually to play d5, and after captures, we can't actually take it back, I'm afraid, because they can swap rooks on e1. And I don't really want to take with the knights, but I think I'd have to, because here I just lose a pawn, which would not be very good. Whether it probably takes with the bishop first, actually. If I take with a knight, though, then actually he gets to blockade my pawn quite easily, and that's not really something that I want to allow. Maybe you could even come to e5 even to attack the knight as well. So this is not a good variation, but after taking, we actually don't take back. We actually push forward with e5. And this is a very common idea in this game. Before I go into that in a bit more detail, another idea that did pop into my mind was this move pawn to e5. Normally, this is something that we don't want to do unless it definitely works. So this pawn structure here with the pawns looking like this, the problem is that we've just made our d pawn backwards on an open file. And we've also opened up this diagonal for this bishop, and we've given him this d5 square, which is absolutely huge. And I thought there was some. First of all, I don't think he can do this one because I do this one, and if he takes my rook, well, quick tactics here. If you want to have a look, what does white play next? You can see that we've got queen g5, threatening checkmate, and he goes g6, and we go queen h6, and he can't stop checkmate down here. So that's definitely a no-go for him. But actually, like knight d5 is possible, and this is obviously the square that he wants to go on. I don't really want to do bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, his bishop would be just really strong. But the idea here would be that I want to go knight g5. It's not checkmate, but it's very close, isn't it? So we'd have to probably defend against this, and it's a case of bringing the knight back to e4 with the idea of trying to play it into d6. But I saw here that he's got this move knight c3, trying to exchange the knights off. Now this is where my brain was starting to go a little bit crazy, because from the move a few moves ago, so I rejected this variation, was to actually play knight f6 here, it's check. With the crazy points, and I've got no idea if this works in any way, but after taking the knight, you can do queen takes h6. And if he takes my rook, then, well, we can do pawn takes pawn, and, well, checkmate is unavoidable, and he can't stop it, so that would be really nice. But of course, he doesn't have to take the rook. He could take the pawn, and I was looking at this and thinking, well, actually, why can't I do rook takes? And now this check here is really, really threatening. And he's got some f-pawn moves that you can do, like f6 or f5, but I get quite a lot of pawns, and as soon as that f-pawn moves, my bishop becomes active on that diagonal, so I was quite happy with those lines. But then there's also this move where he can push past. The annoying thing here is that actually I really want to go rook e3, so I can go rook g3. But actually I think here he can probably play something like f4 here. I can't play rook g3. And I might have like a perpetual check or something, but I think I can just do queen takes f4. I'm threatening rook here. But I think actually it doesn't do anything. He can just take my rook. And while I can give a check, right, but there's actually it doesn't actually do anything useful. And so I don't see what I accomplished from doing this. And the point is I can never put my rook on f3 because the bishop's actually on that square. And I'm actually just going to be a whole piece down at the end of this. I think I've got a perpetual check, like something like this, king here, and then I'm able to go back to f6 because is king, oh, if it goes that way, can I take this? Or maybe you can come out to c6. Okay, it's a little crazy. But this did not feel like it was actually winning the game. So I've only just played this game, so I'm actually going to just go and stick the computer on just to see what the chess.com analysis says. So it says that this is, oh wow, it says this is good for white. Ah, that's why. So actually here, knight d5 is no good. So here, h6, knight e4. So it actually just wants rook d8 here instead. And so this is, I didn't see rook d8 specifically, but I did realise that he didn't actually have to move the knight at the end of the day. And also he had lots of different options. But maybe this is better. Like knight c3 is actually losing to knight f6 check. Oh wow, I did not know that. And apparently his best move here is to move his king, which obviously is really unlikely for somebody to play. You know, if he has to move his king here, I mean, can I not just take the rook? Why can't I just take the rook? Why can't I just do this? Am I not just pieces up now? I'm just like an exchange up. Okay, maybe his pieces are really good, so maybe I could do it in a better way. But yeah, that would be the dream. Oh wow! So I did. My calculation was really good here, and this is apparently losing. Not to queen takes h6, but actually e takes f6, and he can't escape because we've got checkmate with g4. Actually, this is the checkmate that's coming. Ah, of course, e takes f6, yeah. So I might have played this if I'd seen e takes f6 because I was hoping for knight c3. But of course here, I mean, it says he can even get away with playing a5 here. I mean, if he can get away with playing this move, then I don't know what business I want having here. And then rook d3 and across is apparently an advantage for white, but that was maybe a little bit out of my zone. I think the other reason why I rejected it was here, he doesn't have to go knight d5. And I saw that actually he can just play knight d7 and actually doesn't even need to occupy this central square. He can just actually do this, and this is again a positive thing for him. And I haven't got my like knight g5, you know, perfect fine. We can play it once. He can even go knight f8 here though as well if he wanted to, and actually just put his knight back to guard the pawn on h7. So yeah, this I thought there was just too many things like this that he could do that were not too great. So e5 was really attractive though if I could get that knight g5, knight e4 variation with knight f6 check. But unfortunately, it was kind of a bit too hit and hopey. So I decided to go for the common one, which was d5 and e5. Hoping here that he would make a mistake here and play something like knight e4. And you can see the analysis has gone rocking up here. So pause the video. What do you think you'd play here as white? How would I have... well, I think it finishes off the game, but I wasn't 100% sure during the game. I was going to have to do some calculation before I did it. But how would you finish? What would you play next for white? Have a look. Okay, so hopefully you've had a look by now, and what I play is rook takes knight. And the point is that after pawn takes rook, we can play knight g5, and we're both threatening the f7 pawn and the h7 pawn at the same time. So we're probably at least getting the exchange back that we just sacrificed, but we're still getting the attack on the king. So this would have been game over. It would have been absolute carnage. So he doesn't go there, he actually goes back to d7, which is a really good move. And then here I spent another, more time actually. You know, I did bishop takes d5, but I was considering, put the analysis on actually, I was considering knight g5 as well. Computer doesn't like it, so probably a good thing. Because I saw after h6, I was like, can I sack on f7 or something? But it just doesn't look very good, so I take it. And after e6 check, he can actually probably just do rook takes e6. But I also saw, well, do you know what, you can do that and probably win. But you can just king g8 though, and actually what, I just take here. After takes, and then go queen takes d7, and actually I'm not winning this anymore. Sure, I can get a rook on the 7th, but I can't actually threaten checkmate or anything like that too quickly, so it's not even winning. So it's not even a winning variation. There's no point going for the risk of losing it as well. So I decided just to take the pawn back, and he surprised me here. I thought he was going to do bishop takes bishop. He played well. And the point is that when my rook comes to d5, I've got this tempo attacking this pawn. I thought I'd get something here. Like he plays a6, I bring my queen across. Like queen g4 is what the computer's suggesting, but I was thinking queen d4 probably where I go, or something like this, just to support the rook coming here and trying to attack the base of his pawn chain, and switching the attack from the king side to the centre of the board. But I guess to his credit, he played knight f8, really good move, yeah, I just completely forgot that he'd get away with this and defends this pawn, so knight g5 is no good. And it just keeps me waiting about what he's going to do about these bishops, because I can't actually move my bishop off that diagonal. So I decided to relieve the tension myself, put my knight into the centre, and then he goes knight g6, queen here, and I was really worried here at this moment as could I actually lose this game? Because I'm taking a few risks here. You know, that for example, this pawn on e5 is attacked once at the moment, so there's a rook on it. It's very close to, you know, Like, luckily, I was hoping for rook c4. Thought this was the move that I wanted, and then I just go queen g3, and now knight f5 is really threatening a family fork. Queen and 2 rooks there will be forked on that d6 square. But I could lose this pawn on e5 and actually just be a pawn down and potentially lose the game. So I've got to be very careful not to lose it, to try and give myself some winning chances. So here he plays rook to d8, and you see he's lining up all of my pieces to either exchange them off or to win my pawn on e5. So what would you do next? Have a bit of a go at some calculation. I had a big think here, because it wasn't that I couldn't calculate that I was not losing the pawn in the variation that I wanted, but I was actually trying to win the game and actually see what's the best chance of giving myself a winning opportunity while actually not losing the game as well. So if you've paused it and had a look about what you play next, I actually ended up playing knight f5. And you might think, well, hang on a minute, takes. Surely he can take this pawn on e5. Well, unfortunately, no, he cannot. He can't take it with the knight for the obvious checkmate on g7. And he can't take it with the rook either, because, well, unfortunately, I do queen takes rook. I could do queen takes rook, knight takes queen, and then checkmate on the back rank. Or I guess we could do the other way. After rook takes pawn, we could go rook e8 check, and when you block with the knight, we'll do queen takes g7 mate. So there was lots of reasons why you couldn't do that. But yeah, he swapped, and then he went queen c7. I was actually expecting queen b6. I thought queen b6 was the move to play. Queen c7 is maybe a nice idea because he attacks the pawn, but as you'll see in the game, the queen was actually a bit clumsy here. I thought that maybe after knight d6, his plan was going to be queen c2. And this gets a little crazy. I thought he was going to do this, and then I was going to go rook d5. He was probably going to take here, I was going to take here. And then he was probably going to do something about his rook. I don't know what he was going to do. Maybe just rook d8, let's say. And I didn't know what was going on here. I thought, I've got some chances here to actually win the game. Because actually, the setup that I actually want to get to, really, if I could do, even though any time around this setup, is I really want to put my pawn on f4. I want to put my pawn on g3 and get my queen out of the way. The problem with this is, 1, it takes too long, and 2, my king would be really exposed as well. So that's what I really want to play, and even at least just getting this f-pawn up the board, so I can maybe play f5 or e6 and f6, something like this, but just didn't really have the time to do it. But queen c7 took me by surprise, because after knight here, rook takes, I think he just missed maybe knight takes b5 was actually just a nice move. And he can't do rook takes knight because of the obvious pin on his queen. And then after queen, he went queen e7, and yet again, I can just win a pawn with knight takes a7, and he can't take me because, well, queen takes rook, knight takes queen, checkmates on the back rank. So he's got these back rank problems that are. I thought queen e7 as well. Like, there's knight c6 coming, forking his 2 pieces. So he makes a good decision to swap off the rooks, and basically he's trying to draw the endgame now, and I'm trying to win it. And I've got to make sure my coordination is really good, but h5 is a really good move. Just using this h-pawn to come to h4 causes me so many problems, because it's really kicking my queen off this diagonal, and that's where he wants all of his checks. And he's going to get perpetual check here. So I go queen e3, queen f1, queen d4, maybe a bit of a mistake there. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my queen to protect this pawn, and protect the knight at the same time. And the checks on the back rank don't gain me anything. And already at this point, I think he's very close to getting the draw here. I play g3 to try and prolong the game. I thought here that maybe he would have gone for h4. And the point is that after like knight b5, for example, takes, is that my king is now even more open. But I guess I've got some sort of, like, I'm stopping him getting down, shall we say. But I think I'd still struggle to win this. I think he's still got a really active queen. I maybe something like queen here, just threatening queen c2 check. And I'd have to like bring my queen back to f2 or something. And because my queen has to be so defensive, really difficult. But I would retain some winning chances. He played for knight e5, which I thought was a really good move. Obviously, he's threatening the checks here. And you can see that in combination with queen b1, there's going to be some sort of nasty stuff coming along this diagonal. And this, unfortunately, though, as you see the clocks, we've got down to the last few moves. This is move 38 that I've just played. And after knight f3 check, I go king g2. And then I saw, of course, that he's got knight e1 check. And then this is move 40. At move 40, we gain an extra half an hour on the clock. And then I thought, okay, well, he's just gone check here. He's a pawn down. He should want to draw. So I'll just go king h2. And, you know, he'll go back to knight f3 check, I'll go king g2, and then after knight e1, we pass the time control, I've got an extra half an hour on my clock, I can consider king f1. Unfortunately though, fair play to him, he went check, knight e1, and then king h2, and he went queen b1. And this is a really clever move because he's actually sped up his attack. In fact, he's even technically threatening to win the game with queen e4. And the annoying thing is that if instead of king h2, I didn't see it at the time, but if I'd have gone king f1 here, this is apparently winning. Apparently he's gone wrong, and he did have a draw. So this is apparently winning for me. I didn't see the reason why though. After queen b1 here, obviously there's some discovered checks all over the place. I mean, okay, I'm going to put the analysis on here because I know that it said that queen b5 was winning, which is like, okay, I understand, I'm threatening to take the queen. But why is this winning though? So queen e4. I guess he's threatening some sort of check here. And then we go queen c6, and the knight's really useful guarding the queen. And he has to stay next to the knight, and okay, so the problem is check here, h7, queen c4. I don't really know why this is so good. I guess we maybe have queen e2 taking the knight off. King g8 and not queen e2. Okay, and this is easily... Yeah, and the problem here is that we get to swap the knights off now. And with the knights exchange, my king becomes a little bit safer with the way his king was around. So this is still a lot of hard work to win this, but I guess technically still winning. So this would have been good. But I mean, like back here, these moves are just really hard to find. I mean, I think even here, like I was even tempted to take this, and actually now I'm losing. Knight f3 check, king g2. Oh no, I would have lost my queen. I would have lost my queen. Queen d1 would have won my queen. Oh no, that would have been absolutely horrible. So, you know, I was tempted to do queen h5 in the game, so that's why I didn't go king f1, because I couldn't calculate it all. And I thought if I repeat moves, I'd have the time to then calculate it. I think I was also considering... what else was I considering? I can't remember. I thought it was queen takes h5 was what I was going to play, yeah. So I probably would have found queen b5 if I had enough time on the clock. But okay, I probably played it too quickly, probably should have spent a couple of minutes thinking about it, and after queen b1, to his credit, he gets the draw, and I couldn't see a way of stopping him from attacking, so I just played knight c6, and then he takes the draw with the knight. He could have very easily been tempted to play a move like queen e4, which is still actually playable. It's not actually winning for me, because now I have a perpetual of my own with knight e7. You can't move here or here because the queen takes h5, one of them being checkmate, the other one sorts the queens, which is great. So therefore he's going to go king here. And then amazingly I can just like move my knight around. And he can't go king e8 because it's checkmate. And then he goes back, and sure, I've got to check on f8 or c8, but his king can come out. So I don't really quite know what's going on here. This is a little crazy. But I think the point is that at any moment I can play knight h4 to prolong the game, and he hasn't got checkmate or checks on these squares. So therefore it's a huge risk for him to do something like this. And so he rightly just took the draw with the knight, and I can understand why. Okay, well that was that game, and okay, I came close to winning it. I did actually have a win at one point, but it was on move 40. So considering how my preparation went for the game and what I was doing beforehand, okay, not too unhappy with it. Because I know that if I'd have put like a couple of hours of preparation into it, I would have had all those lines down, because it was pretty predictable to play that. But okay, onwards, half out of 2 for me so far. Let's just have a quick look around at some of the other players. I appreciate that it's all gone a bit messy on the video. Okay, you can see what I'm searching there, right? Which is good. So here you can see that Imogen had a draw in round 2, which is really good for her. So she drew with 2183. So that's a really good result. I know she lost in the first game, so she did well. And then Sanchez. Luis Ortiz Sanchez also drew in round 2 as well. So he had a good result. All 3 of us lost in round 1, and then we've all drawn in round 2. So we're all joint leaders for Wales into the second round. So hopefully we don't play each other. That would be quite bad. We don't really want to play each other. But maybe we'll be next to each other perhaps on the boards or something like that. Of course, all the juniors have been playing in their tournaments as well, and some of them have started their standard play tournaments, so I'll have an update after a couple of rounds of that. They played a lot of them were playing in the Rapid and the Blitz as well tonight. So best of luck to those playing in it. But apart from that, I hope you've enjoyed the video recap, and yeah, give us a like and a follow. And obviously there'll be more for the rest of the games too, and maybe I'll feature even some other games when I have time. Just settling in at the moment for the first couple of rounds. Thanks very much for watching. See you again.